Now we will discuss the viral diseases. Okay, so we have taken two examples of the bacterial diseases. There are many examples. I've shown you the list. Now we will discuss with respect to the viral diseases. So what is a virus? The first question is, what is a virus? Is virus a cell? So many of the scientists, they are still arguing and finding out that can we consider virus as a cell, and we have not come to that conclusion today that virus can be concluded as a cell. So it is not concluded as cell. Last time also I told you that in the 5 kingdom classification, virus was not kept as a kingdom, and it is studied as a separate group. So we study virus as a separate group. What is the basic structure of virus? What is the basically structure of virus? There is a outer layer. This outer layer is not the cell membrane as such. What is actually in a cell? It is basically a membrane, or we can say a structure of protein, and the word used here is coat. Instead of membrane, it is used as a coat. So protein coat covering is present outside, and inside there is a genetic material. So this genetic material can be DNA, this genetic material can be RNA, and if I am making the two strands, that means they can be double strands of RNA or DNA, or maybe single strand. So it depends. So the simple structure of a virus is a protein coat and genetic material, that's it. And another point is, why can we say that viruses are living or they are non-living? This is also a question. So students, remember this, that viruses, they are living only inside the host. When they are inside the host cell, they are living. When they are outside the body, they are non-living. They are non-living when they are outside the body. So these are the basics of the virus. Now let's look at the topic of the polio virus. So my concern here is to discuss with you polio virus, very important topic, and very truly we have eradicated completely polio from our country. So there are 3 types of polio viruses. There are 3 types: polio virus type 1, type 2 and type 3. So there are 3 types of viruses of polio. Okay, wild type means that naturally they are found in these particular 3 forms, and they are virulent as well, so they are capable of causing the disease. In 1999 we eradicated type 2 polio virus completely globally. So definitely you would have seen that many kids, many parents are asked via television advertisements or photographic advertisement, visual advertisements, that अपने बच्चों को क्या करें, that you should bring your kids who are 5 years of less age, and they should be given polio drops, right? So you are aware of this. These such kind of campaigns they occur, and small kids or children below the age of 3 years and 5 years, they are mostly affected by this particular virus, and this particular virus causes paralysis. Okay, so it causes paralysis, and this is because of the nervous system is somewhere hampered, and this result in the paralysis condition. Sometimes it may even cause death. So 1999 we eradicated type 2 polio virus completely and globally, and then in 2019 the news came that globally we have completely eradicated type 3 virus also. So poliomyelitis, that is the name of the disease. So the commission here is the Global Commission for Certification that particular disease has been eradicated or not. It clearly declared in 1919 that yes, tuberculosis. It clearly declared that in 2019 a type 3 polio virus is being eradicated. So in the present scenario, type 1 is virulent, it is prevalent today, yes. Okay, so type 1 is existing and other two types have been globally eradicated. The type 1 particularly polio virus, its circulation is seen in Afghanistan and Pakistan currently. So even the African nations are also free from polio. Okay, India too is free from polio. So is there any cure? Listen students, are there some kind of antibiotics that can be given? So there are no antibiotics. There are no antibiotics as such. So we cannot cure particular individual if he or she is affected by this particular polio virus. But yes, definitely we can prevent it by a immunization technique, and immunization means boosting your immune system using vaccine. So a person can boost its immune system using the vaccine. Okay students. So students, if we look at the polio vaccines, then there are two types of vaccines. There are the way the vaccine can be given, it can be of two types. One is oral, the route can be oral, or the another can be injectable polio vaccine. So with respect to type 1 and type 3, we use oral vaccines. So you know that students or kids or children below the age of 5 years, they are given such kind of polio drops. These can be given in various doses of 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks or 24 months, up to 24 months. And these all information you need not to learn much. What is important here is that weak virus is used in oral vaccine. However, in injectable vaccines, they are using killed virus. So these are killed virus vaccine. When we say killed virus, that means the virus has been completely killed and the parts of the virus are basically used. But when we say weak virus, so this is living in the host, living in host cell, not having the capacity to cause the disease, but definitely having the capacity that it can produce the antibodies in the body. Okay, the problem with this kind of a oral vaccine is that this oral vaccine can become the reason for more circulation. How? If this vaccine is given orally to the kids, then definitely it will go to the digestive system, and through excreta the virus can come out of the body and can contaminate nearby water body, and this is how it can circulate in the unimmunized population, where it can again be becoming the reasoning for a spread of the disease. So this is one of the challenges. However, it is rare, it is not always, and this is why such kind of oral vaccines are used. So this is about what type of vaccines are used with respect to polio. If I give you some data, so the data here is that WHO, it simply says that if we come across the number of years that the work has been done with respect to eradicating polio, since 1980, we can say 99.9% of the cases have been reduced and decreased. The polio virus cases have been decreased, and this is all because of the vaccination effort. So you would have definitely seen in the television that Amitabh Bachchan ji, he used to come and say, "Do boon zindagi ki, 2 drops of life, 2 drops of life." So such kind of a program, which is called as Pulse Polio campaign or program, it is very successful. Use these kind of examples in your answer sheet, that even if we are facing the problems of other diseases, like I just gave you an example of tuberculosis, if we can eradicate polio completely using Pulse Polio campaign as a successful campaign, we can use such kind of a methodology for eradicating other kinds of diseases as well. Okay. When did India receive this particular polio free tag? So it was in January 2011 when the last case was detected, and after 3 years, after 3 years, because 3 years is the buffer period where the body certifying body used to observe that any other further cases are coming or not, and if not, then in 2014 India received polio free certification by WHO. So it is 3 years, after 3 years of buffer period, India in 2014 got completely eradicated from polio. Very successful campaign, Pulse Polio campaign. Remember this in quoting it, one of your answers, if possible in the conclusion, it would fetch you good marks. Let's come to other diseases, and this is now I am talking about another kind of virus, and the name of the virus is HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. The structure of the virus is this. So I've already told you the structure. The basic structure is that there are some layers of proteins around, and these layers of protein, it is called as capsid. So capsid is a general term used for a protein coat. This is capsid, and inside this structure, this protein structure, there are some kind of RNA as a genetic material or DNA as a genetic material. So in case of HIV, the genetic material is RNA. RNA is ribonucleic acid, and I will be teaching you the difference between DNA and RNA in the subsequent biotechnology unit. Okay. One another thing I would like to, what I like you to remember here is reverse transcriptase enzyme. So this is the name of the enzyme, this enzyme, reverse transcriptase. So when I will be teaching you biotechnology, I will be using this term. Also, when I say RT-PCR, do you know this RT stands for reverse transcriptase only. So you are aware of the term reverse transcriptase PCR. Either you would have done the testing for COVID-19 or your family member, or maybe your neighbors. Definitely you are totally much aware of this particular term, and see the enzyme, out of this enzyme reverse transcriptase, this word has been derived. I will tell you in one line what its function is all about, but we will discuss this in detail in biotechnology unit. So if I say DNA is getting converted into mRNA, and mRNA is responsible for converting into protein. So indirectly we can say, so this is the method. So indirectly we say that DNA, the genetic material responsible for making the kind of a protein that has been made. But with the help of reverse transcriptase enzyme, what we can do, RNA can be converted into DNA. So if this RNA is the genetic material here, it can be converted into DNA using this reverse transcriptase enzyme. Okay. So this is the basic information about this enzyme. However, I will teach you in detail in further classes. Now, why we say that acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, it is not a disease as such, it is a syndrome. What the word syndrome here means and why we are saying it is a syndrome. Students, the reason behind is that if a person is impacted because of the HIV virus, if the infection of HIV virus is occurring, then that person, it loses its immunity. So there is a total impact on the immune system, and the immune system, it gets suppressed. So if an individual's immune system is not responding up to the mark, then definitely many diseases will come and occur to him or her. Many diseases will come and become prevalent here. A simple cold and cough can turn into pneumonia. A person can suffer from tuberculosis also, because the bacteria, if it is inactive inside, because of the reduced immune system, the bacteria can become active. And there is a simple correlation between the tuberculosis and HIV. Patients who are suffering from HIV infection, they are also many a time suffering from tuberculosis also. So it is not because of actually the HIV disease. It's not a disease, it's a virus. It's actually because of this virus, many other kinds of disease happen to an individual. That is why we say this is one of the reasons that it is called as a syndrome. So I hope now you come across the word syndrome, why it is called as syndrome. In class 9th NCERT also this explanation has been given. I have already told you that HIV, it weakens the immune system of an individual, and there are two types basically. HIV type 1 and HIV type 2. With respect to type 1 and type 2, we can classify them according to the location. They are mostly prevalent and infecting the people. With respect to HIV, we can say it is spread worldwide. However, type 2 is more localized towards the West and the Central Asia. Okay. Within the type 1, which is more serious problem, there are many groups. One group is M group. There are other groups, M, N, O, P. There are other groups, but I want to tell you here, this M group is the major group responsible for the infection and the problem of this syndrome AIDS to the people. We need not to go into detail. We just need to know that group M is a major problem. HIV type 1 is spread worldwide, and it is a reason and responsible reason that many of the people are infected by this particular virus, and they are killed because of this particular, death occurs to them because of this particular HIV infection. However, I can say that it is not a very quick process. If a person is diagnosed with HIV infection, then the person will be called as HIV positive. Okay, the person will be called as HIV positive. That doesn't mean that the individual will suffer in such a manner that the immediate death will occur. No, that is not the scenario. What happens is, students, it may depend on the immune system of the individual and how much time the virus takes to replicate inside the body. Okay? So the point here would be that individual may survive, he or she may survive for 3 months, maybe not more than that after diagnosis, or may even survive for 5 years. So that depends on the immunity of the individual, but the person will be called as HIV positive. There is no cure as such. There is no cure as such, and there is no commercialized vaccine available for the masses at present scenario. This problem is since 60s and 70s. It is not new to us. It used to be earlier in developed countries, and now it is becoming prevalent in developing countries also. But there are some therapies, there are some drugs available. They are called as antiretroviral therapy. So the name of the therapy is antiretroviral therapy, ART. It includes many of the retroviral drugs. Okay? So why we are saying retrovirus? Retrovirus is basically a group of viruses, and HIV belongs to this group. So that's why we say it's a retroviral therapy, an antiretroviral therapy. Okay, students, I hope you are aware of the structure. I hope you are aware of the basics. Now, what I want you to learn here is basically, if I add one more slide here, what I want you to learn here is how this spread of the disease occurs. Spread of HIV. So this can be one of the questions, because you know that HIV is the social stigma is also attached to it. Social stigma, and because of this social stigma, many of the patients, they, first of all, the reason behind its spread is that, first of all, a patient is not aware that he or she is carrying the virus. So unawareness, if I say, and lack of diagnosis, these are the reasons. And then also, because of this social stigma, a person is not coming up front for treatment. This is one of the problems as well, and the disease is spread through various means. So if I say what are the means of spread of the disease, first very important responsible factor for the spread of the disease is sexual transmission. Sexual transmission. So I have already told you that exchange of body fluids, if it occurs somehow, the exchange of body fluids may be responsible for the disease HIV virus spread. So this virus can spread because of sexual transmission. If an infected person gets sexually intimate with the partner, and then the healthy individual can also be infected out of it. Second point is using common syringe, and this mostly happens during drug abuse. So it has been seen that many of the youngsters, when they go for drug abuse and when they use the common syringe for multiple people, they are using the common syringe. If one of the individual is impacted, then others will be impacted as well. They will be infected with this virus, and even a drop or even a small number of virus can cause this problem. So this is one of the reasons, using common syringe. Then common razors. If there is a cut, and that the cut of the stain of the blood, if it is of the infected person, and the same common razor will be used by another person, he or she may get infection. So these are the basic ways, and even from mother to fetus or to baby, it can happen. The spread of the disease can happen. Yes, if a mother is infected, baby can also be infected. So these are the various means that the disease can spread, but you must know, since social stigma is also attached to it, there are ways in which this disease is not at all spreading. Handshake, having food together, sharing food sharing, if I say, or having food together. In fact, it is not transmitted via means of the air. It is not an airborne disease. So staying in the same room environment, these are not the reasons that the disease will be spread. It will only be spread via means of exchange of body fluids. Okay. And another example I missed out here, that is blood transfusion also. If blood of the infected person is given to a healthy person, then also the disease can spread. So these are the 5 ways where the disease can spread. And if a question is framed out in such a way that which of the following are the responsible factors and reasons behind the spread of the disease, you must know the reasons behind. Okay, students? Now, and one more thing, students, I want to teach you here is, there is a special act. The name of the act is HIV Act 2017. It came into force in 2018. Why this particular act or bill was passed? The bill was passed to make an act. The reason behind is to safeguard the interest of people infected by HIV. So there should not be any kind of discrimination with the people who are suffering from HIV and who are HIV positive. So there are some provisions. As such, it's a I would say it's a 6 years old, 5 years old topic, but still you should have some points in your mind. They should be clear. That first of the provision was with respect to the government, that government should not discriminate. Either it is a central government or a state government. None of the government has the power to discriminate. It cannot discriminate. And even it said that government will be responsible for giving ART therapy. So you know what is ART? Antiretroviral therapy. Okay. So without discrimination, government will be giving this medicine, taking care of the people, and none of the way it can discriminate with these people. Another provision was for basically courts also, that people who are infected with HIV or who are HIV positive, their cases should be resolved at faster rate. Okay. And third provision was with respect to prohibition of discrimination. So these are the basic, if I say basic points that are covered in this particular act. One thing more, students, in 2015, the data from the global burden of diseases, it said that 25, or I would say 21 lakh people are actually infected with HIV in India. See, such a huge number. The data is a bit older, but still it's a very huge number. And it also says that only 25% of them are given such kind of therapy. However, globally, if we compare it, the number is compared globally, it is 41%. So if we say globally 41% of the infected patients are given the treatment, it's only 25% in India, and the number is approximately 21 lakh who are people who are suffering from HIV infection. That is 2015 data. If it's come your way and if you could quote it somewhere, it would be very handy for you. Okay, students, so this is all about HIV topic. So students, if I ask you, is HIV AIDS is a pandemic? So the answer is yes. HIV is pandemic. And if I ask you, coronavirus is pandemic, definitely you all are aware it is a pandemic. So what is the difference between being pandemic and epidemic? And also, what is the difference between outbreak and epidemic? See, outbreak is a point from where first cases they were seen and from where the disease is spreading. For example, in case of COVID-19, what we said that Wuhan in China was the region or the location for the outbreak of the disease, from where it started to spread. When we talk about epidemic is a localized region. It is a specific region, a bit definitely larger than outbreak. It is a specific region where the disease is occurring again and again. So disease is prevalent in this particular localized region only, specific region of the world, and again the disease is coming and it is prevalent in that local region only. But when we say pandemic, so definitely you can see that worldwide it is causing havoc. So coronavirus, HIV, they are pandemic. There are other diseases also, not just corona and HIV, there are other diseases also, and if such question comes in, that arrange these particular diseases in the order of their being pandemic. So Spanish flu in 1918, you must know this, that India was also somewhere impacted by Spanish flu. SARS 2003. So what is SARS? SARS is severe acute respiratory syndrome. And if I say coronavirus, coronavirus is a type of SARS only. It's a type of this particular group only. So it's a group of viruses which are responsible for respiratory problems. So corona was actually, we can say it's a group. It's a part of this group. Swine flu was declared pandemic in 2009. However, it was seen, H1N1 was seen in 2016-17 being major problem. And then there is another term, MERS 2012. So MERS is Middle East respiratory syndrome diseases. Okay? And then Ebola, we all are aware that African nations were impacted because of Ebola, and on this particular topic UPSC has already asked the question. 2014 for Ebola, and Zika virus for 2015. Zika also UPSC asked the question. So you can say that many a times, each and every year, UPSC is asking one or two questions out of the diseases only. And which of the diseases that are prevalent in the, or we can say nearby future current affair issue is there, then definitely UPSC is focusing there. Let's come to the topic coronavirus. This is also a viral disease. It's family of viruses. The three terms that you would have definitely come across is 2019 novel coronavirus, first term. Then what is SARS-CoV-2, and the third term is COVID-19. So what is the difference in these three terms? See, when this particular virus came in, it is called as a novel. Novel means new. The meaning of novel is new. So it's a novel coronavirus. So it's a type of the coronavirus which is novel, and the temporary name was given by WHO. However, later on, a body called as International Committee on Taxonomy of the Viruses, it came up with a proper name, and the proper name of the virus is SARS-CoV-2, Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2. So this is the name of the virus, SARS-CoV-2, and COVID-19 is the name of the disease that is caused by the virus. So SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus which is causing the disease coronavirus, or we can say COVID-19. Okay, okay students, chalo. Let's look at the basic structure of coronavirus. You all know there are spike proteins. So we have seen policemen wearing a helmet. Spikes, red spikes are coming out of the helmet, and the picture depicted that people should be aware that coronavirus is there and they should not breach the lockdown. So this spike protein is basically the responsible reason that why we are saying it is a coronavirus, because just like a sun, the rising rays coming out of it, the spike protein is also like a corona shape, a spherical shape is seen, and that is why it is called as corona. So spherical shape, and the size of the virus is approximately 50 to 200 nanometers. Nanometer can be defined as 10 to the power 9 minus 9 meter. So 1 upon 9 times 0. RNA is a genetic material, remember this. So for HIV also, RNA was the genetic material. And now I am sharing two terms with you here. One term is RBD and another term is ACE2. What is RBD? Is receptor binding domain. This is basically protein, and such kind of a protein is present on the spike proteins of the virus. So this RBD is present on the surface of the virus. When I talk about ACE2, ACE, the full form here is angiotensinogen, angiotensin converting enzyme. Angiotensinogen or angiotensin converting enzyme. This is basically receptor. So here we can say that on the host cell, on the cell or the person who will be infected by the virus, the cell, this particular cell has some receptors, and these receptors are to bind with respect to angiotensin converting enzyme. They are helpful in regulating blood pressure basically. So it will be regulating the veins, the arteries, but actually what happens in reality, the RBD spike proteins, they get attached to these ACE2 receptors of the host cell, and using such receptors they get inside the host cell. So they exploit these ACE2 receptors of the host cell. Okay, I hope this much is clear. We need not to go into much detail. And now look at the question what UPSC asked in 2021. UPSC asked that ACE2 term that is been seen in the news, it is in context of what? And you see the options that it was given to you were like very much difficult if you are not aware of the term. It can be genetically modified plants. It asked you as option A, or it is India's own satellite navigation system. So you must know it is NAVIC. Is it a wildlife tracking radio collar, or it is a spread of the disease? So now the answer is very much clear that spread of the viral disease is the answer. But why such question was asked? Because these ACE2 receptors, they were very much in news, and it was the news was like that if we can regulate these ACE2 receptors, then we can prevent the spread of the disease. So some antibiotics, some drugs can be used to finally that somehow that ACE2 receptors are not recognized by the spike protein. So if this kind of mechanism is being exploited, we can prevent the spread of the disease. That's why many articles, many editorials came on this particular topic, and UPSC asked this simple term in terms of what it actually means. It doesn't want you to know the exact biochemistry hidden behind. It just wanted you to know whether you are aware of the term or not. So see how UPSC is playing with your mind And if you're aware, if you are your mind is open, your eyes and ears are open, then definitely you would have done this question easily and it would have been your free marks. Okay, let's try to solve other questions now with respect to viruses. One question came, another question in 2021. It asked us that bacteria, fungus and viruses, which of the following above can be cultured in artificial or synthetic medium? So definitely artificial and synthetic medium means outside the cell, and outside the cell means in the laboratory conditions. So can you culture means multiplying, culture here means multiplication. Can you multiply virus outside the body? And I have told you many times that viruses, they are non-living outside the host cell, outside the living cell. So if they are non-living outside the cell, they cannot be multiplied. So C cannot be the answer, and this is how you can eliminate all the three options, and answer to the question is A. We can culture bacteria, we can culture fungus, but we cannot culture viruses. And you see that this question is somewhat related to the previous year question. This question was asked in 2013, and if I show you how UPSC has repeated the question with the same topic, see, it gave you the statement that viruses can be cultured in any synthetic medium, and wanted to ask you the correct statement, students. And the answer here is that yes, it cannot be cultured. So 2 is wrong, and you see 2 is wrong. These two statements are wrong. So if you would have attempted this question or did this question in the past, practiced this question in the past, then definitely in 2021 exam you would have done this question right. So out of this single statement, the question has been given. Now look at the other options also, that viruses, they lack enzymes necessary for the generation of the energy. That is true. That is why it uses the host cell. This is the reason that it uses the host cell. And the third point is that not just viruses can be transmitted via biological vectors only, it can be transmitted via air. So if we say common cold, you get infection from the dust, you get infection from the contaminated water also. So not just only biological vectors. So 3 statement is also wrong, this is also wrong, and answer to the question is only A. So this is how, when you practice previous year questions, it becomes easier for you to sometimes get those questions which are actually the copy of the past previous year questions, and then again you must score marks here. So see, 2021 this question, it was an easy question, and then 2021 this question, it was again an easy question if you would have been aware of the term and you have read editorials timely. So this is how you can score 4 marks just going across general terms that are there present in the current affairs and general awareness of the topic of general biology. And such questions are asked in the exams. They are free marks, I would say. Be prepared for them, and this much knowledge should at least give you the chance to attempt the question. Okay, let's go ahead. Another question came on the virus in 2016, and this question is with respect to whether the topic is correct or not. So you can see virus topic even before coronavirus situation 2020, even before 2020, this topic was very much favorite topic of UPSC. This question, it asked you that bacteria, fungus and plants, which of the following is correct, and virus can impact or infect which of the following. So students, virus can infect plants also, virus can infect bacteria also, and those viruses which infect the bacteria are called as bacteriophage. Okay, even if you are not aware of the term, virus is something that needs a living cell, a host cell to survive and multiply, and all these are living cells. So in that scenario also you can say that all of the above answers are correct. So you need not to learn much in the books and go into the detail for such kind of questions. They are easy questions, they are asked in the exams many a times. Okay, let's go to the next topic. This topic is hepatitis. And this topic is again, hepatitis is the condition, it's a disease, it's again caused by the virus. So first of all, I tell you what this word hepatic means. It means liver. So there are some general terminologies like hepatic, it means we are talking about liver. If we say cardiac, this I hope you are aware that we are talking about heart. If we talk about renal, if we say a word renal, that means we are talking about kidney. These are basic terms that are used by biologists. So if we talk about osteo, that means we are talking about bone. Okay. If we say pulmonary, that means we are talking about lungs. So this is how, just like neuro, we're talking about nervous system, or the central nervous system, where brain is the part of your body, being if we say neurology, branch of science that deals with the structure and study the functions of neurons, brain, the transportation and communication system, communication I would say. So please be aware if such words are asked in the exam. With respect to this, I am talking about hepatic liver, the hepatitis. The hepatic particular is the name of the organ, and that is why the word hepatitis has been used. So there are some kind of viruses groups, hepatotropic viruses we can say, and they are detected in liver. They can be categorized into A, B, C, D, E, many types. And out of all these, when we say hepatitis, which type of hepatitis is much more serious problem for us today? It is hepatitis B and hepatitis C. So you must know that hepatitis B and hepatitis C are various are major problems that are caused by such viruses, and these diseases are need to be taken care of. It is also the reason for many deaths for individuals. What are the causes of hepatitis basically, and what hepatitis actually means? Hepatitis simply means the inflammation. Inflammation means swelling. So in this particular hepatitis disease condition, swelling of the liver would occur, and because of the swelling, what will happen actually, because of the swelling, what will happen is the functioning of the liver would be not proper. A person may be having symptoms of jaundice, a person, the digestion problem can occur, and what are the causes and reasons behind is that heavy alcohol use, toxins, medications, these could be the reasons for the cause of the disease. Okay students, hepatitis A, we can say there are vaccines to prevent hepatitis A and hepatitis B, but there is no such vaccine for hepatitis C. There is no vaccine for hepatitis C, and that is why the problem is very much serious. Okay, if I give you some facts, hepatitis A is self-eliminating. What do you mean by self-eliminating? That it is said that if a kid is of 5 years of age and in a developing country like India, then definitely hepatitis A virus would have infected its body, and a kid would have developed immunity against it by itself. So our body is such that if this virus is infecting us, any kind of a bacteria, virus, fungus is infecting us, our body starts to respond, and once it starts responding, it tries to make antibodies against the particular disease. So hepatitis A is not a problem. Okay, but hepatitis B and C, the medications are available, but they are serious issues today. WHO has a global strategy to eradicate and eliminate completely hepatitis by 2030. Okay, and the theme for the year 2022 was bringing hepatitis care closer to you. It simply means that the theme is trying to create awareness in the masses and the people that we need to bring primary healthcare facilities and community based venues for treating hepatitis, and people should be aware that they should come up for diagnosis and the treatment of hepatitis disease. Okay students, another theme I would like to discuss here, there is a theme for tuberculosis also, if we skip that point actually previously. So tuberculosis also there is a theme for 2022. Invest to end TB and save lives. So remember this is a theme for 2022. For 23 also there will be theme, so you need to remember such themes, because in some of your PCS exams these themes are directly asked to you and from of the questions. Okay, let's go ahead. Hepatitis B and C together are causing major deaths. I've already told you. 2018, the government of India launched a program called as National Viral Hepatitis Program. Very important. You can use this as an initiative taken by the government for hepatitis. With respect to the other countries, nearby neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Thailand, we can say that these particular countries are the first 4 countries that WHO Southeast Asian countries which have successfully controlled hepatitis. Now if I ask you a question that why are neighboring countries are capable in eliminating and eradicating many communicable diseases. So if it asks you regarding general sense with respect to many communicable diseases, and then it gives you an example in the question that, for example, hepatitis for these particular 4 countries, and then it can also say that with respect to Sri Lanka, where malaria was completely eradicated in 2018, so 16 and 18. So why India? So why these neighboring countries are capable and why not India? Why not India is showing this capacity in eradicating the problem? Why? So if our neighboring countries are doing so, why can't we do it, even when we can say that these neighboring countries, they are not that much powerful in resources in comparison to India, but they are capable enough to eradicate such diseases. Then where India is lacking? So in such kind of a question, if this question can come up in 10 marks, such kind of a question, do not just think of health aspect only. You should mention various factors, and in fact all the factors that are responsible for the spread of the disease and why India is not able to do so. So the factors can be geographical factors, that India is a land that comes in between for both covering both the tropical region and the subtropical region. And if we talk about Nepal, we talk about Bhutan, so there the winter season is of 5 months, and because of this the communicable diseases, the spread of the bacteria, the spread of the virus, the optimum temperature is such that these viruses and these bacteria are not able to multiply itself. They are not getting ambient temperature, optimum temperature to multiply. However, in tropical region, you see humidity is there, and this is the reason that the particular organism is able to multiply and replicate. Geographical factors are there. Then you can give some social factors are there, that people are suffering from poverty already and unhygienic conditions. And you can also talk about government here, that there is a lack of infrastructure with respect to like municipality जो cleaning होती है, garbage accumulation, or maybe government, with respect to government you can also say that primary health care centers, lack of resources with respect to medicines. Then you can say drives, proper drives for vaccination. So these are the factors, these are the basic factors that why India is lacking. So focus on all the aspects, and then the you can say the political will also. There should be some political will to counter these problems, and then budget allocations. Then you can counter budget also, that we're not spending that much in the health, though we have increased with respect to after COVID-19 situation, we have increased in the healthcare infrastructure, but it's still not optimum. And then you can conclude your answer with the pulse polio program, where you can say that since the drive of pulse polio program was successful, we can definitely go ahead for elimination of these diseases. And then you can take the examples of tuberculosis, you take example of HIV also, you take example of typhoid also, and then other examples you can quote in the answer and make your answer look good. So this is how you attempt such kind of questions. I have given you one example here only. Let's go further, okay, and look forward for such kind of questions if they come up in the future. Anyways, There is another term like COBAS 6800. What does it mean? It is basically a testing kit for hepatitis for B and C, and later on it was used for coronavirus testing also. So that's why it was in news. So I have mentioned here. General point, nothing much, current affair based. One thing more you should know is there are four diseases that are endorsed officially by WHO, and there are proper dates that are given for creating awareness of these diseases. One is HIV/AIDS, 1st December. So definitely you know that this kind of a red ribbon, it comes into the photographs, pictures, and this part is most of the people are aware of. But people are not aware of tuberculosis as being 24th March for the awareness of this disease. It has been endorsed officially by WHO. Malaria for 25th April, and hepatitis is one of them, 28th July. So please remember, these are the official diseases which are being endorsed officially by WHO. A nation can choose its own date for creating awareness among the masses, but I am talking with respect to WHO. Okay, so 4 diseases you must remember, and you must also know their basics and what India is focusing in eliminating these diseases in future. Let us look at the question. Here, and the question here is of 2013, where it asked you simply that which of the diseases can be transmitted from one person to another with the tattooing. So you know that a tattoo, if a tattoo is being made for one person, and same kind of equipment and instrument is being used or device has been used for imprinting tattoo for another person, what kind of diseases can spread? So you know, looking at the question, you can simply say that tattoo, a machine is used, and while doing a tattoo there can be stain of blood, right? And if we say there is the exchange of body fluids and the disease can spread, definitely one disease that comes to our mind is HIV. Okay, so 3 has to be in the answer. This is how you eliminated one option. More important is to eliminate the options rather than looking for the right answer. Just eliminate the option first. So you eliminated option 1. Okay, now look at the chikungunya disease. Students, chikungunya, it is spreads by mosquito, don't you think? And if it is spreading via mosquito, then 1 cannot be the answer. So you eliminate these 2, and answer to the question is very simple in front of you. 2 and 3 is the right answer. So hepatitis B is also a STD, sexually transmitted disease. This point maybe you are not aware of, but looking at the other options, you could have reached to the right answer. Okay, looking at the similar question, it is of 2019. Question is again specifically on hepatitis. You see there are 4 options that are given to you, and you are asked which of the option is not correct. Okay, and look at the statement number 1. Hepatitis B virus is transmitted much like HIV. And if I ask you that you would have done 2013 question in the practice, see, hepatitis B and HIV were the answers and transmitted through a same means. So this option has to be correct. So this is somewhere related to your 2013 question. Don't you agree with me? Okay, so this is not your answer because the statement is correct actually. Look at the other options, and then I'll take you directly to the answer. Basically the answer to the question is B. B option is not correct. So not correct statement was asked. See, it is saying that hepatitis B, unlike C, does not has a vaccine, but I have told you already, hepatitis B has the vaccine, but hepatitis C does not have a vaccine, and it just interchanged B to C and asked you the question. So it was again a factual knowledge. If you are aware of this factual knowledge, you will be able to solve such kind of a question. So if anything comes up in a current affair, it is your duty to remember and learn more about the topic, not just the current aspect but also the static portion as well. Okay students.